Welcome everyone. Welcome everyone. Welcome everyone to another Ref Brandon and the Todd family YouTube video. Wherever you are, whatever you may be doing, thank you so much for making Ref Brandon and the Todd family a part of your day. We always greatly appreciate it. Want to start off today's video by sending out a couple of quick shout outs. The first one goes out to my man Keith, who lives all the way up in New Jersey. He subscribed to the channel yesterday. He said he's gone back and watched a few of the videos that I have posted in the last couple of months, and he's been very entertained and intrigued by it because he likes the way that I bounce around and jump around and don't stay on, one team or one topic, because it shows my overall knowledge of more than just one thing. Keith is a huge wrestling fan, so Keith, you'll be happy to know that coming up sometime later on this week, we're going to be discussing some wrestling, so please stay tuned for that. My next shout out goes to my man Justin, who lives all the way up in Nebraska. He is aspiring to be a pro wrestler. He says ever since he was a child, his dream is to be a pro wrestler. He has applied at the Rhodes Wrestling Academy. He's a few years younger than I am. He says he wishes he would have followed this dream about 10 years ago. I told him it's never too late. I know a lot of guys that start in their 30s. As a matter of fact, if you're a wrestling fan, you may know the name Dave Batista. He was a long-time WWE wrestler, and I believe he was 31 years old when he made his WWE debut. So it's never too late to follow your dream. Justin, I wish you all the best. Please continue following the channel, and please continue to catch up with me on Facebook and let me know how your wrestling training is going when you get into the Rhodes Wrestling Academy. Today's video is going to be top 10 all-time winningest football coaches. And the reason why I do top 10 all-time winningest coaches is because a lot of people only follow what they now call FBS football, but used to be 1A football. And I like to give all the coaches credit. If you had a long career and you won a lot of games, it doesn't matter where you coached at. You should get credit for it. So I'm going to talk about all the coaches, not just FBS coaches. If you have any thoughts on this, please feel free to let me know. I always enjoy reading your comments. Of course, some of these guys coached at 1AA schools or Division II schools or Division III schools, so you may not know them, but some of these guys coached at big-time FBS programs, so you'll know them. And if you're a college football nerd, then you may know all these guys. But number 10 on the list was Roy Kidd, who coached for 39 years with a record of 314 wins and 124 losses at Eastern Kentucky. And that tells you how good of a coach he was, because ever since he retired, Eastern Kentucky has been abysmal. But Roy Kidd was very successful there. Number 9 on the list is a guy that coached at 6 different schools. He coached at Iowa State, Cornell, Carlisle, Pittsburgh, Stanford, and Temple. Coached for 49 years with a record of 319 wins and 106 losses. Now, if you like to watch Pop Warner football, then you'll know this guy's name, because his name was Pop Warner. So, of course, that's where the name came from. Number 8 on the list is a name that everybody's going to recognize. Coached for 38 years with a record of 323 wins and 85 losses. Coached at Maryland, Kentucky, Texas A&M, and Alabama, and that was Paul Bear Bryant. Number 7 on the list is Larry Kyre, who has the most impressive win-loss record of anybody you're ever going to see. Nobody's ever going to get close to this win-loss record. He coached for 27 years and only lost 24 games. That's impressive. 332 wins and 24 losses for Larry Kyre between 1986 and 2012 at Mount Union. That is an incredible resume. Number 6 on the list is a guy that coached for 42 years with a record of 335 wins and 136 losses. He coached at Anderson, the one in Indiana, Georgetown, the one in Kentucky, California, not the state, the small city in Pennsylvania, and St. Francis, and that was Kevin Donnelly. And speaking of Anderson, South Carolina has, of course, a smaller university called Anderson, and they have announced that they are going to start a football program. Bobby Lamb is their head coach, and if you follow football, you may know that Bobby Lamb used to coach at Furman, and he also coached at Mercer. Well, he's been hired at Anderson to jumpstart their football program, and I believe September 7th, 2024 is when they're going to play their first football game. He says he enjoys and gets a kick out of going to programs that don't have a football team and getting it going, because if it works and it's successful, then you built it from the ground up yourself. So he enjoys doing this. I think he'll get them going, probably coach 4 to 5 years and call it a career. But I enjoy it because in the area where I live, there's a lot of high school talent, but a lot of them aren't quite good enough to go to a major FBS program, and they can't all go to, Furman, Wofford, Mercer, and schools like that. So having another startup program gives more high school players in this area a chance to follow their dream and play college football. So good luck to Anderson when they start their program in 2024. Their nickname will be the Trojans. Number 5 on the list is a guy that coached for 37 years with a record of 338 wins and 99 losses. He coached at Carson Newman, which is a small school in Tennessee. Ken Sparks was his name. Number 4 on the list is the late, great Bobby Bowden, who coached for 44 years with a record of 377 wins and 129 losses. Of course, everybody knows he coached at Florida State, but maybe not everybody knows he started out his career at Samford and then West Virginia and then Florida State. Number 3 on the list is a guy that coached 55 years all at one school, that was Grambling, with a record of 408 wins and 165 losses, and that was Eddie Robinson. Number 2 on the list coached for 46 years all at one program with a record of 409 wins and 136 losses at Penn State, and that was Joe Paterno. And the winningest coach of all time is a guy that's never going to be caught because he coached for so long. He was blessed to have a very, very, very long life, and he started out coaching so young, and he coached so long that this record, nobody's ever even going to get close to it unless you coach for 50 years and never lose a game. Nobody's going to compete with this record. 64 years with a record of 489 wins and 138 losses. He coached at Carroll, a small school in Montana, but his biggest claim to fame was all his years at St. John's in Minnesota. That was John Gagliardi. But coaching for 64 years and winning 489 games is pretty doggone impressive. And a few guys just outside the top 10 was Amos Alonzo Stagg, Frosty Westerling, Larry Wilcox, Tubby Raymond, and another name everybody will know, and that was Frank Beamer, the longtime head coach of Virginia Tech. Of course, his son Shane is now the coach at the University of South Carolina in his first year with his first head coaching job. And I want to make a few short, quick comments on John Gruden. I know he resigned Monday night. I didn't mention it yesterday, but it was because of the fact I almost didn't even mention it. And then I was like, I'll go ahead and throw it out there. But if you have not heard, John Gruden resigned Monday night. I think the Raiders are better off for it. I've said it before, and I'll keep saying it. I've never been a big fan of John Gruden. I've never understood how come all the years he was at ESPN calling games, Every time Tennessee had a coaching job available, everybody wanted John Gruden. I never understood it. The first time around when he coached the Raiders and Bucks years ago, every year his teams got progressively worse. He never did anything impressive. And since he's came back with the Raiders, every year they start out good. And it's like, oh, this is the year for the Raiders. And by the middle of the season, they're 500. And again this year, they started out so good. And the last 2 games, they've looked pitiful. So I think the Raiders are better off forward. Of course, John Gruden is almost 60 years old now. So depending on how long this investigation takes and what they do, this may be the end of his coaching career. But I think the Raiders are better off without him. But we'll have to sit back and wait and find out. Let's go ahead and get our dad joke of the day in here. Did you know that dogs can't operate an MRI machine, but cats can? And that wraps it up for today's Ref Brandon and the Todd Family YouTube video. Until next time, it's Ref Brandon saying, just like in pro wrestling, life can be over by the count of 3. Tell your friends and family how much you love them. Bye.